In a recent video, I did a head-to-head comparison of 5 popular cell cameras. I tested things like trigger speed and detection range, photo and video quality, battery life, and much more. I'll put a link down in the description to that head-to-head comparison video, but in the comments section of that video, I heard a lot of feedback of people that experience problems with their cell cams. Ultimately, when you have a problem, what happens? Can you simply pick up the phone and call their customer service and get your problem resolved? Well, that is the focus of today's video. I'm going to be testing the customer service experience with Moultrie, Tactacam, Moultrie, Bushnell, and Spypoint. So let's go somewhere warmer and make some phone calls. I'll admit I struggled coming up with the perfect plan to test the customer service from these cell cam manufacturers. There's so many variables like the time of day in which you call, the day of the week, busy season versus non-busy season, and ultimately a lot of it comes down to your personal opinion on how well you thought that phone call went or if you were satisfied. My plan, although not perfect, is to remove an SD card from each of these cameras and then power the camera on. This should give me an error code or an error light. I'll then call customer service. I'll test things like how long does it take to talk to a live person? Are they able to diagnose and fix my problem? I'll give my opinion on how knowledgeable they seem to be, how easy to understand the person was, and ultimately what my experience was. I'll give you the overall length of the call. So let's get to testing. So let's get started in no particular order. Up first was the Bushnell. I removed the SD card and called customer service. Now, as you can see, I sped up this footage. Nobody likes being on hold, and for sure nobody likes to watch somebody being on hold. At approximately 6 minutes and 34 seconds, I was actually able to talk to a real person, and the overall phone call came in at around 9 minutes long. The next camera was the Moultrie. Again, I removed the SD card, turned the camera on, and called customer service. Now, I am glad I was sitting down for this one because I had no idea what I was in store for. I sped this footage up to 64 times the original speed, and it's still going to take a little while to get through here. Right now, I'm coming up on 20 minutes on the phone, simply waiting for a customer service representative. I'm getting a lot of messages, a lot of advertisements for different cameras, and I just simply wait and wait. Now would be a good time to remind you at the end of these 5 customer service experiences, I'm going to break each one of them down, give you the things that are the pros and the cons, maybe some of the variances that weren't totally fair, so you're going to want to stick around for the end for that. But at 47 minutes, I finally was able to get a hold of a real person on the phone. They were able to help me, walk me through the problem, and we were able to resolve it. The total call came in at over an hour and 3 minutes long. The third camera I tested was the Tactacam. I removed the SD card, called customer service, and within 29 seconds, I was talking to a real person. They quickly diagnosed the problem, had me up and going, and the total phone call with Tactacam was right around 6 minutes long. The fourth camera I tested was the Spypoint. Again, same routine, pull out the SD card, turn it on, and call customer service. It took around 6 minutes and 34 seconds to get a hold of a customer representative. I was on wait before that. They were able to diagnose the problem pretty quickly, and the total phone call was 10 minutes long. Now, the last camera I tested was the Moultrie. Now, Moultrie was one step ahead of me because on their new Moultrie Edge camera, there is no SD card. So I could not simply remove the SD card and create a problem that way. I did, however, want to call their customer service to see how quickly I could get a hold of somebody, and I asked a few questions about the camera. I was able to talk to somebody within 1 minute and 40 seconds, and the overall phone call lasted for 3 minutes. So that concludes my test. And again, it wasn't perfect. For example, the Moultrie does not have an SD card to remove. It has a built-in SD card, so the phone call, they weren't diagnosing a problem. So the overall length of the phone call wasn't near as important. In fact, with any of these, I would focus in on the amount of time it took to talk to a customer representative. The Moultrie was fast at 1 minute and 40 seconds, but Tactacam was even faster. From the time I called, it was less than 30 seconds when I was talking to somebody. Spypoint and Bushnell were a near tie for third and fourth. Both of them were around 6 minutes and 30 seconds to get a hold of a real person. And the overall loser was definitely Moultrie in my testing. Now keep in mind I called all of these on the same day of the week and approximately the same time frame. Now obviously I spent over an hour on the phone with Moultrie to get the problem resolved, so that delayed my testing and they weren't quite as close in timing as what I thought they would be. But with that said, again, Moultrie lagged way behind. It took me 47 minutes of waiting before I could actually talk to somebody. Now interestingly enough, as I was waiting and waiting for somebody to pick up the phone, they were playing a lot of advertisements and messages on the phone. They were advertising a lot of different makes and models. They have several different Moultrie cams, different models available, but they were also advertising stealth cams and wild game innovation cameras. So there's a lot of different makes and models under one company, and they may all be directing you to one customer service number. Now obviously on this day, at this time, they were way behind because I think we would all agree 47 minutes is just too long to wait on the phone to talk to a person. Now a lot of these companies would prefer you to go to their website, or they have different chat helps available. But if you're old school and want to just pick up the phone and talk to somebody, like in my test, Tactacam was the clear winner. Some other observations: I thought all the customer representatives were friendly and seemed knowledgeable. With Bushnell, I talked with Pete. With Moultrie, I talked with Jackie. With Tactacam, I talked with Emily. With Moultrie, I talked with Jay. The only one I didn't catch a name was with Spypoint. She told me her name, but I had a little bit of trouble understanding her. Now, she was very knowledgeable and she was helpful and helped me diagnose the problem, but I wasn't able to easily understand her. We had a little bit of a language barrier compared to the other 4 manufacturers. So that might be something worth noting. I don't know if everybody's experience is the same as that, but today, during my testing, 4 of the 5 were very easily for me to understand. 1 I could understand, but it was a little tougher. The last thing I'll note about this test is after the call was over, I received 3 different emails, one from Bushnell, one from Tactacam, and one from Moultrie, to see if I was satisfied with the call. So now I'd love to hear from you. Do you have a customer service experience that you would like to share? Remember, it doesn't have to be negative. Maybe it's the best customer service that you've ever experienced. Feel free to leave me a comment down in the comment section. Remember, this video was suggested by the comment section of a previous video. So you never know, if you leave a comment, I often learn from it, and maybe we'll have a new video because of it. I have lots more testing ahead coming up here in the future. I have other makes and models that I'm going to be doing some comparison tests. That's all coming up, so you're going to want to stay tuned. But until then, I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.